Hi.
Hi, we're ADOY. I'm Z from the band, and he's Juhwan, the frontman, and we're hanging out with Rob from Front Row Live.
Z, what's up? And I'm super excited to be talking to you about the band, about the music. I
Hmm.
recently got introduced to your music, and I really love what you guys are doing. Um, I'm glad that you are the synth player because the first question I think you're gonna enjoy, but I feel like synths are very important with this band. Um,
Yeah.
what during the writing process do the synths kind of dictate the writing process or what the sound is going or what the song is going to sound like, or do the synths come in after the writing process?
Uh, right now, the synth is always the first element in what we do. So, because I mainly create like the big ideas of a song, and then I can't play the guitar, I can't play anything else. So it's gonna be the synth, but then that ironically, that's what we're trying to kind of deviate from in the future
Oh wow.
because we want to different paths to. So we want to make our songwriting process a bit different so that the music itself could, you know, have a different path. So that's a dilemma for me actually to start always start with the synths. So I'm trying to bring my guitar in first and
Mhm.
then try something with the guitar or maybe get inspired by a guitar sample, stuff like that, trying out new stuff to actually grow our sound in the future.
So the sound that you have right now, what was it about this sound that made you guys want to pursue it?
uh I think the core sound we want to make is the feeling of kind of being lifted up. So if you hear our music, the bass isn't really loud. So it's pretty low compared to like other records. And that's we did that on purpose. Kind of here's Juan. Okay.
Hello.
Uh this is Rob Herrera. So he's gonna take one piece. 이거 오른쪽에 들려요? 네. So um yeah, basically we want to make our all of our sounds float in the air. That's our goal. Um because we think that it brings the sense of youth, like and how do you say it? Vitality, and that's why we really like the our sound.
So in a sense, what is the writing process like lyrically? How does the band come together and create the lyrics to these songs?
Usually lyrics I make them because I'm the English speaking person, but then sometimes Juan will write lyrics in Korean, and then I'll kind of translate it.
And when it comes to like the actual singing,
Yeah.
what is that process for Juhan to be able to sing these lyrics in English?
영어로 그 불러야 되는 거죠. 그런 과정이 어떠냐?
어, 쉽진 않지. 왜 그러냐면 영어를 잘하지 못하기 때문에 쉽진 않지만 최대한 어쨌든 번역의 과정을 거치기 때문에 어떤 느낌으로 불러야 될지 알고 공부하고.
So it's not easy because he doesn't speak fluent English yet, but it's a process that's kind of become natural because we have so many songs. In the first, like, in the beginning it was really hard, but then now it's kind of a process that is not too easy. It's not too hard for him to learn the pronunciation and stuff like that.
And as far as like the language barrier, um, you mentioned that he sometimes writes the lyrics and then you translate them. So whenever you translate that to those those languages, what kind of challenges do you face in order to be able to make them cohesive?
So when he writes stuff in Korean, obviously it's not gonna like sound good if translated directly to English, because it doesn't rhyme, or the Korean language has different feelings to a same sentence. So I kind of just translate it in my free will. So I'll take the core message that he's written and then kind of repackage it into a different version of the story in English. So I think there's like I think it's better because it can have both of our ideas kind of mash into a different whole story. So it's not a one-to-one direct translation. You can't. I don't think it's possible.
I think it's impossible. Yeah, it's impossible
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah.
With the production, you guys have produced all your records, all your music since the beginning, and even to now, it's still produced by the band or by you, Zee. So during this process and throughout these EPs and album, what has been the evolution like as you produce more and more music together?
그리고 이제 음악을 많이 내왔는데 음악을 만드는 과정에 뭐 변화 과정이라든지 뭐 이런 거 있는지.
얘기하면 되나?
네.
그냥 뭐 예를 들면 크레딧에 관련된 어떤 문제니까 여러 가지 방법들이 고민을 했었던 것 같아요. 처음에 뭐 다 같이 참여를 해서 만드는 방식도 있고 그런 방식의 장점과 단점들이 있었는데, 그래서 그 다음 앨범에는 조금 더 그런 것들을 좀 보완한 방식으로 또 전환을 하고, 그 다음에 또 그러니까 이게 약간 뭐 민주주의, 뭐 사회주의 약간 그런 소셜 개념들이 조금씩 좀 계속 왔다 갔다 하는 것 같아, 정반합처럼.
So in the beginning, like we tried various types of composition strategies. So all five kind of stay in the same room, keep on getting ideas out, and then try to glue that together. That was in the beginning process, and it had like good side and bad side to it. So we tried like for example, the next album we tried like each of us trying to compose separately and then kind of bring it together. Like for example, like after a month we'll gather once and then try to bring it together. Sometimes now, like sometimes I just do it myself. Sometimes he just does it himself. So I think it kind of evolves, I think. Yeah, in the beginning it was just all us five in a room just pressing record, that's it. But then now it's kind of like we do it separately and then bring it together.
And during this process, I feel like you guys are comfortable with each other, but at the same time I feel like that's a problem in the record when you're recording, because you might be too comfortable that you don't try to challenge yourself. Yeah. How do you challenge yourselves during the recording process, and how do you help each other get out of your comfort zone during this process as well?
I think we just try different kind of genres, because for example, like there's a song called Porter we did with the rapper. That song in itself was kind of out of our comfort zone, and we wanted to, it was first time ever collaborating with a rapper, and then at first we didn't know what to do, and then we had to actually dig into some music that we weren't listening to, and then that was pretty fun because it was fun for me, especially because it helped me like gain knowledge about a different genre and then bring some good stuff into our own production. So I think we're trying to expand our musical genre a little bit. For example, we also did some instrumental tracks with no singing. So that's a challenge. And we were thinking of maybe in the future we'll make a few songs in Korean. That's gonna be an interesting, out of the box kind of thing for ADOY. So every album will do something new, and then I think that will get people out of their comfort zone and make things more exciting.
Now, as far as your most recent EP, the Her EP, what song challenged you on the most to sing in English?
이거는 영어 제가 어렸던
항상
이번 EP에서
항상 레코딩 과정보다는 이제 공연할 때 소통할 관객들과 직접 소통을 해야 돼요. 이게 막 미국 투어 같은 경우가 되게 좀 힘든 것 같아. 뭐 특별히 어려운 건 없고, 그러니까 뭔가 레코딩 과정에서는 그냥 뭔가 이렇게 책 보듯이 공부하듯이 하면 되는데 실전은 공부가 아니니까.
So recording wise, he's pretty comfortable with it because it's the same process every time. He studies it and then he practices. But since we're in America right now for our first US tour, so he has to talk in English, right, to the crowd. He says that's a way bigger challenge because he can't really practice everything because he has to talk on the spot and stuff like that. So he feels like concerts in foreign countries are more difficult for his English.
나한테 여전히 언어가 특히 넘어야 될 커다란 장벽.
So the next challenge he's gonna try to overcome is the language barrier.
Okay.
In talking, yeah.
Now, for you, Z, during the recording process of this EP, what was one of the difficult songs for you to either produce, write, or just finalize as a whole?
There was a song called Saint. So I wanted to feel like very big, very rocking, but then I wasn't really pleased with it until almost the end. And then I think at the end, I decided to just put like an acoustic recording on top of the electronic recording. And I don't know how, but that made everything really great. So yeah, I was getting stressed out because he wasn't like rocking enough. And then the answer was actually an acoustic guitar. That was pretty interesting.
Now, during this this first US tour, so far you've had 2 shows, I believe. What has this experience been like, and how are fans enjoying hearing these songs live?
미국 투어 지금까지 어땠는지.
일단 생각했던 것보다는 훨씬 더 많은 사람들이 와주고 노래를 따라 불러서 한국에서는 아직까지 그런 상황 아니기 때문에 굉장히 재밌고 재밌는 공연 지금 진행하고 있고 항상 이런 투어나 이런 도전 같은 것들을 하면 다음에 좀 성장해 있는 것들을 느껴져서 이렇게 지금 하고 있는 거죠.
So he's saying because it's a new crowd, it's always exciting because in Korea it's always kind of the same crowd, but then it's a totally new crowd here in the US. So it's he feels really good. And also after like one of these big challenges for us, we always tend to grow like as a person and also musically. So he's thankful for that opportunity. And for my answer, Korea right now, because of live performing in Korea, it's kind of has been way different. It's so the crowd can't make a sound, like, and they can only clap. They can't stand up, so they all have to sit down. So it was a really like kind of a sad 2 years for us because it's a different vibe, and as soon as we came to America, it's kind of open here. So we kind of brought back memories from 2 years ago playing live. So I was really happy about that.
Now, you mentioned that you have been working on a new record, and you guys wrote this separately. With this new record, what can fans look forward to? Like, is there a storyline that you guys are writing about, or is it a different kind of sound like you kind of mentioned earlier? Like, what can we look forward to?
I think it's gonna be we're gonna try to go for a different sound. We're trying various new different sounds, but then we haven't settled on it yet. So we're making a lot of ideas. It's like maybe like loops, a lot of loops, different kinds of loops and different genres of loops, and trying to, for example, add his singing into it and then see what sticks. So we're still in the phase of experimenting, and like story wise, that's also not been said at all. But things that we experienced from the US tour might go into it, and things we experienced will definitely go into it. So yeah, we're slowly we're not like in the writing process. We're just still trying to find a color that we want to go for.
And at the same time, when you guys went your separate ways to kind of start working on this record, when you came together to hear each other's ideas, do you feel like everybody was on the same page, or do you feel like everybody had completely different ideas sonically and lyrically?
그래가지고 각자 이렇게 하고 왔을 때 이게 뭔가 잘 맞았는지 아니면 뭔가 다들 다른 아이디어를 갖고 온 건지.
뭐 언제나 그 부분이 가장 힘들지. 조합이라는 건 뭐가 자기 뭐 알다시피 뭐 그런 것들 하니까 항상 그래서 그 결정의 과정들이 앨범을 만드는데 가장 힘든 어떤 과정 중에 하나. 뭐.
It's always tough to put different ideas into one, because everyone has different tastes a little bit, and different views of how a song could evolve. But it's also the fun of it. And what I think is it's very different. So ADOY's taste in music, they all listen to different kinds of music. And that's why I think it's even better for us, because I could, like, for example, if Dayoung makes a melody, it's a melody that I can't really think of. So in my melodical habits, I can't really think of her way of thinking of a melody, and then vice versa. So I think in ADOY's case, it's not bad to have different ideas. You just need a control tower, and that's usually like me or Juhwan, or maybe if Dayoung came up with the original idea of a song, she can be the control tower too.
Back to Juhwan, because his speaking voice is more of a lower register, but then when we listen to his music, it's more of a higher register.
Yeah.
How did he learn to sing in that register that he does? And does that feel like a natural way of singing for him, or was that something that he had to learn to do?
그 말하는 건 처음인데 그런 고음이니까 그게 약간 내추럴 했던 건지 아니면 배워야 했던 건지.
자연스럽게 배운 것 같아. 진짜로. 왜 그러냐면은 이전에는 당연히 록 음악들을 했었으니까 훨씬 거친 보이스를 내야 되는데 새로운 어쨌든 팀을 하는데 다른 스타일을 좀 보여줄 필요가 있었다고.
So he learned naturally. That's what I'm saying. So before he used to be like a rock singer in his previous band called Eastern Psychic, and he was a rock singer. He was low voice, but then he wanted to try a different genre, and then he was open to adapting to what sounded good in, for example, what I make in a synth. So I think he naturally learned that the high voice was the way to go for ADOY, and then he adapted to it. Yeah. So it wasn't his natural voice, I don't think, but he learned.
And he's comfortable with that register?
지금은 편해요?
너무 자연스럽지.
Yeah, it's
지금 전처럼 부르라고 하면 잘 못 부를 것 같아.
어디?
지금은 예전처럼 부르라고 하면 잘 못 부르지만 예를 들면 뭐 돈스타 같은 경우에는 예전에 어떤 노래 부르는 습관들이 좀 많이 나온 것 같아.
So if we asked him to sing the way he sang before, like the rock style, he wouldn't be able to do it now because he's not used to it. He's kind of changed his concept now, his body. Yeah. So it's become natural.
Wow, that's interesting. I never thought that you could lose something like that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So I guess to close us off, just on Friday, one of the members of Tomorrow and Together released a cover of Wonder, and it's a song that you guys wrote 3 or 4 years ago. So for you as the original artist of the song, what does it mean to have a song that was written years ago still be very much popular today?
범규가 그 원더 했는데 이제 3, 4년 전에 했던 게 아직도 이렇게 한 기분이 어떤지.
근데 저희 노래들이 다 뭐 1집부터 그렇고 팬입 러브 앨범들이 굉장히 좋은 음악인지 그때 뭔가 아도이 사운드가 좀 굳어진 건지 좀 계속 그냥 신선하게 듣는 것 같아서 아무래도 우리 입장에서는 좋죠.
So I think even like Canip, our older songs, Canip love albums, I think a lot of them are still new to a lot of listeners because we weren't like big rock stars or anything. We're just like indie scene, and people can discover it still now. And so I think it's kind of still fresh, thankfully for us. And we obviously feel honored that, you know, we didn't really expect any covers or anything like that. We didn't really have high expectations when we started, but it's kind of, we feel really thankful that people actually like the style of music that we're making.
근데 그런 것도 있는 것 같아요. 우리가 앨범을 4장을 냈는데 앞에 2장과 뒤에 2장엔 그 사이에 딱 코비드가 있었던 것 같아서 그 전후로 사람들이 뭔가 돌아가고 싶은 마음, 약간 좀 그런 게 있었던 것 같아요.
So I think the first two albums, after the first two albums, there was a situation, and maybe people want to go back to before, so that's why they're feeling kind of 뭐라 그러지? Nostalgia, yeah, about the sound before, our fans.
Yeah. With this song Wonder, was this an easy process? Like, did the song create itself naturally, or was this one of the challenging songs to make?
It was easy, but it was hard to come out. So we were making the album, and then we had like 5 or 6 songs, but we didn't really have a title track. So we had already made the other songs, and then we were kind of stressed out because we wanted to release the album, but we didn't have a title track. So we were really stressing out, and then I think we were in the studio, just like kind of bummed out that no idea was coming. And then I think it was just before we decided to leave the studio, it was like, oh, he hummed something, and then I kind of thought of like chord ideas, and then we just did that in 5 minutes. It sounded good. We left the studio and then came back the next day and made Wonder. So it was the last song that we composed in the album just before releasing it. So, but then it was really, as soon as when the idea came out, it was really easy to finish it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The idea didn't come, yeah, but then when it came, it was easy. That's always this, we feel like that's always a sign of a good song, when it's easy to finish.
Yeah. Well,
but I mean, sometimes come out.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes those challenging songs are the ones that end up becoming like the hit. So
yeah, exactly.
Who knows? Maybe this is a new life for Wonder, and it's going to take a new direction.
Hopefully, yes.
Well, thank you again for taking the time to talk to me. I'm very excited that I was recently introduced to your band, and I'm looking forward to you guys taking over the US. I feel like your music is starting to make an impact here, and I feel like it's once it does, it's going to stay. So congratulations with that, and congratulations with your first US tour. And
thank you.
Looking forward to doing this again soon.
Thank you for having us.